Hello, and welcome to the Monster Painter. This week, I take on a $50 jobber's lot of 40K terrain, and at the end of the video, you could learn how you might win a fabulous piece of genuine Monster Painter swag. How awesome is that? All right, let's get at this. And off the bat, we have a couple of nice sprues. But the real meat of this box is a deep, deep pile of ruined walls. They are clipped and trimmed and ready to be assembled, thank God. And they are all in that ubiquitous Warhammer 40K Nihilist Ultra Gothic architectural style, although they're ruined, which makes it perfect for my purposes. And yeah, these things have got a bunch of mechanical elements and of course lots and lots of skulls all over them. And yeah, it's a deep, deep pile, and as I dig through this, I'm starting to get more than a little scared. Yep, that's a scary pile of unbuilt terrain, for sure. Mercifully, this big, scary heap of terrain has been turned into ruined walls rather quickly, and now I have an awful lot of ruined walls, and they're going to be a lot of fun to paint up. But now I think it's on to those sprues. The first sprue is brown and contains some lovely oil drums and some crates and some fiddle-faddle, but really I am after those barrels and boxes. After clipping the sprues, the crates are good to go, but those oil barrels will need to be put together with a bit of glue. Alright, here are the crates and barrels all assembled and ready to go. And here they are all finished up with a hatch that turned up in the process as well. Not a great set of progress shots for sure, but they're looking good, they're nicely finished, and it's time to get on to the next part of the project. Now on to the next sprue. This one is gray and contains some rather impressive heavy industrial chemical equipment. And you really have to hand it to those Games Workshop designers. They can really pack an awful lot of stuff onto one little sprue. An awful lot of really cool stuff, in fact. Of course, all these freshly clipped bits will require assembly, and I am struck by how the ultra-advanced technology of the 40th millennium looks like a fever dream version of old-time 19th century Industrial Revolution type equipment. This is kind of crazy and kind of fantastic at the same time. I mean, as a result, I think all of this terrain will fit into my sci-fi games of Stargrave just as easily as it will fit into my high fantasy games of Frostgrave. Now that they're all assembled, let's get them painted up, starting with a red iron oxide base coat, followed by a thorough dry brushing of silver all over the things, and then an initial black wash, which leads to a more thorough black wash with extra black on parts to make them look like some very gothic industrial equipment. And these things have some wonderful details on them to pick out. Now onto the real monster in the box, all those walls. I have assembled them with a mind to maximizing variety, trying to put each one together with different parts and in varying arrangements in order to increase the interest in this huge lot of similar looking ruined walls. And naturally there are some bits left over, the inevitable consequence of such a big jobber's lot of loose models. At this point I have to make a confession. Most everything up to now in the video was filmed months ago when I first got this lot, but after I primed up the walls I became a little intimidated by this huge set of ruins and I realized I didn't have the time to take it all on. So they have languished on the table until now. And now is the time to get them done! As always, the first step in getting them finished is a good base coat. I am using one of my favorite base coat colors, Raw Umber. It is a nice, cool, dark brown and appropriate for so many things. And it's while I'm doing this base coating that I realize each piece has an enormous amount of surface area and a tremendous amount of details. And that fear of not having enough time to finish this behemoth of a project begins to creep back in. And now all I have to do is repeat this step another 15 times, and I really start to realize just how daunting a project this is going to be and how difficult it is to get this project finished on time. I gotta repeat every single step 15 times. On to the next step. I am going to apply a layer of pearl white mixed with Mars black, a cool silver color if you will, to all the parts of these walls where the finish or the plaster or whatever it is has been damaged, exposing the underlying structure of the walls. And I presume the underlying structure is metal because this is the far future, right? And then I do it 15 more times. Yikes. All right then. In the next step, I apply a dry brushing of unbleached titanium to the pillars and the plaster finish that remains on the walls. This approach will give these elements the look of old marble and is usually a fairly fast and effective technique. But these models have a great deal of details. I mean, a huge amount of details. Really enormous amounts of details. And I get thoroughly bogged down during this step. In retrospect, I could have perhaps used a different approach and technique and it might have gone faster, but I don't really know. There are a lot of details and nothing might have helped. Anyway, in for a dime, in for a dollar, and I slog it out. This is also where I realize I have no chance of finishing some of the other things in this jobber's lot. Like these very fun ultra-gothic mainframe computer terminals, or these equally hyper-detailed platform structures. Oh well, perhaps another video. As I chip away at these walls, I also begin to contemplate the nature of Imperial architecture in the grim darkness of the 40th millennium. And I have to admit, it is quite daft. These walls have the overall look of a high Gothic cathedral, particularly the pillars and the windows. Some of the details have a tough art brute quality, but these details don't lend to any modernist feel to the structure, but rather push it towards a kind of a weird Baroque quality. I mean, GW's hyper-detailed and emotionally over-the-top models often epitomize a modern Baroque style, so this should not be surprising. Now add to all of this the exposed industrial elements and I get very puzzled. Is it a factory or a church? Who in their right mind would build a church that looks like a factory or a factory that looks like a church? This pairing of formal hyper-Gothic elements with all this straight up crude utilitarian parts is very novel to me. Furthermore, these things are full of reliquaries. They're all over these walls. There are far more reliquaries on these things than in a Gothic church or really any building outside an actual crypt. Now I know, the GW house style can be summed up in one word: skulls! But whatever these buildings were supposed to be, they were clearly built by some sort of morbid death cult. Which, let's face it, is exactly what the Imperium of Man is. So, Games Workshop, you really nailed it. These are very unique and identifiably branded just by their style alone, which is what GW is really good at. Now, I personally do not play 40k, so all these ruins will be set to a different purpose. They will be appearing in my games of Stargrave, which is set after a devastating pan-galactic war has destroyed the old social order and left ruination in its wake. And they're going to be perfect terrain for that setting. I am also going to use these in my high fantasy games of Frostgrave. All the details have a mid-20th century look to them. I mean, there are 1950s looking radiators on these ruins. This, combined with those Gothic architectural elements, give the overall kind of steampunk vibe. And that steampunk vibe in the total ruination that they're presented in lets them fit nicely into the lost ruins of Old Felstad. So yeah, surprising amount of versatility out of such a specifically flavored set of terrain. Gotta love it. And repeat 15 more times. Oh boy, oh. Now I'm going to apply some metallic bronze to all the metal decorative architectural elements of these Gothic, Baroque, industrial ruins, and it's going to help it look more Gothic, Baroque, industrial, and it's going to take some time, but it's going to really help out the model. And then yeah, repeat 15 more times. Oh. On to the next step, and mercifully these steps are getting accomplished more and more quickly. Here I am going to apply a layer of pearl white mixed with Payne's gray to all the industrial details. This mixture is a favorite of mine and makes for a lovely cool gunmetal gray color, and it's perfect for all these industrial details. After I accomplish this, I'm going to fuss with all the bitty details off screen because I really have to get this blessed video finished. Oh boy. And again, 15 more times. Oh, but we're almost done. And hallelujah, we are at the final step. The final step of so many projects, in fact. The black wash. This will help make the details pop a little. This will help make the ruins look a little more dirty and weathered. Hopefully, it will help hide some of the more rushed qualities of my paint job. And it should unify the project overall. After I do this step another 15 times, we can take a look at the final product. Here are all those walls, looking every bit the grim, dark ruins they are. I'm very pleased. They're going to be a totally useful, versatile terrain for whatever genre of wargaming I am playing. Oh, and here's a peek at some of that super intense detail that covers these things. Not a square inch of these models has been wasted. Finally, here is the remnant of a grand imperial door, befitting any mighty immortal god king. But hey, on the other side, what is with the exposed conduits? Is this a pan-galactic imperial tyranny or the discount vegetable market at the corner? And here it all is in its natural habitat, setting the scene for the Frostgrave Maze of Malcor scenario, the furnace. And it's all doing a spectacular job at that. Oh, hello. Just practicing my flu horn here. You've made it to the end of the video, which can only mean one thing. You want some Monster Painter swag. Well, in order to win this beautiful, genuine Monster Painter math rock bag, all you have to do is leave a comment in the comment section below. Maybe tell me what you'd like to see in a future video. Maybe tell me what you don't want to see in future videos. And leave a comment either this week or in next week's video. And then on July 19th, Tuesday, July 19th, I will draw the winner from the hat. And this math rock bag could be yours. Next week on The Monster Painter, I'm gonna finally get my Frostgrave Wizard all painted up. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. Ring the bell.
Watching Les the Monster Painter.